Warning. This podcast contains strong language, sexual themes, and content that can be considered offensive. Listener discretion is advised.
In a land far, far away, in a time not much different than this, there lived one exponential loser. And that loser's name was Laighton. 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 Hi everybody.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the podcast, Pretty Much Anything. Today it's just me, Boris Johnson, in the thigh crust, aka ya boy Laighton. I don't know if that was a little bit racist or not, but today's podcast is a Twisted Tales episode. It was supposed to be up yesterday because it's, like Twisted Tales Tuesday, but I had some issues yesterday because Nadine decided she didn't want to do it anymore, which, kind of made me really PO'd. But I was also real baked yesterday, so I didn't get around to it and shit, so I'm doing it today. Tuesday somewhere, I guess. Well, I don't know if that's true, actually. I don't know if it is Tuesday somewhere, but in a parallel universe, or whatever, it could be Tuesday, you never know, right? So, let's get started. So, today, this is episode 2, season 1. Today, I'm going to try and make it short and sweet, just like my fine ass self. Because last time it was way too fucking long, and I apologise so much. And I do not blame you if you only got 5 minutes into it and were like, nope. Okay, so number 1, Bar Black Sheep. Now, I do think that's politically incorrect. I'm pretty sure they've changed it to Rainbow Sheep because, I found out that Bar Black Sheep is actually about, black slaves when they were in the cotton fields picking cotton and shit. And that's why it's I'm sure everybody knows that Bar Black Sheep, have you any wool? Which is basically a slave asking a slave if they have any cotton. And then it's yes sir, 3 bags full. And then it's 1 for the master, slave master, 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. So I don't know if the little boy actually is racial slur for black person, or if it actually means little boy. I don't know. Anyway, next one. Okay, so the next one is Mistress Mary Quite Mistress Mary Quite Contrary. So I don't know if you guys know that, but it's Mistress Mary Quite oh my god, I can't say that word. Mistress Mary Quite Contrary. How does your garden grow with cockle shells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row? Contrary is another way to describe a psychopathic murderer. Is actually talking about Queen Mary I of England, and she was also known as Bloody Mary, and she had a really fucked up personality, so she'd kill people, and that's because she was super hardcore Catholic. And this was back in between 1553 and 1558, and she executed hundreds of Protestants, I can't say words, and cockle shells and silver bells are actually torture devices, so, that's what you're telling your kids. Second one, eeny meeny miny mo. Now, I didn't know this, but you know how it's eeny meeny miny mo, catch a tiger by the toe? Apparently, tiger didn't used to be tiger, it used to be the N-word. Now that's really fucked up. And back in 2004, on an airline, somebody sued the airline because one of the flight attendants used the rhyme to... She said, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, please sit down, it's time to go," and people got really offended by this. This was back in 2004, but people got really offended by this, tried to sue the airline, and the court basically sided with the airline because the attendant didn't mean it in an offensive manner. I don't think they actually realised what they were saying, so yeah, that's something I probably won't use now because that will be in my head. Fourth one, rub-a-dub-dub. 3 men in a tub. Right, so it's kind of been cleaned up now, because originally it described 3 girls in a tub, or 3 maids in a tub, but some people think it was like a reference to basically like a naughty showgirl act at like a carnival or like a sideshow, kind of like the old school equivalent to like a strip club or whatever, like 3 girls, 3 women in a tub naked and stuff, you know. Fifth one, okay, I remember this. This one isn't a nursery rhyme. This one is like a kids book thing, and I used to have this on tape, like a cassette tape, and there was a book for it as well, and I used to listen to this before I went to bed, and I used to have nightmares and stuff, but I loved it. There's this mummy goat, and she's got 7 kids, and she went out to like the market or some place like that, and she left her kids at home, and she basically said, "Whatever you do not open the door unless you know it's me." This wolf came over, and he knew the mum was gone, and he knew the kids were home, and it was a bit peckish, decided he wanted some snack, and he knocks on the door, and he's like, "Kids, let me in, it's your mother." And they're like, "No, you're not our mum because you have a black patch on your paw." So he goes away, and he goes to a baker, and he gets some flour put on his paw so they can't tell that's not him, because the mum said like there's a wolf out there with a black spot on his paw. There was also something to do with his voice as well. He went and changed his voice. But eventually the kids let him in because they thought it was their mum, and he gobbled all the kids up apart from one, which like hid in a clock or whatever, like, you know, like an old grandfather clock that opens up. He hid in there. The mum comes home, she's freaked out. There's clothes all over the floor, everything's wrecked because, you know, goats wear clothes all the time and shit, right? So she's like freaking out, and the youngest kid that like hid away, he's like, "Oh, the wolf came and ate them all, blah blah blah." The mum goat grabs a pair of scissors, and they run to this place where the fox is, which is like, the wolf is, where it's like under a tree on a, like by the lake or whatever, and so she cuts open the wolf's tummy, gets all the kids out, and then she shoves stones in his belly and sews it up, and then he wakes up and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so thirsty." So he drinks water, and then he like falls in and he drowns because of all the stones in his tummy. Number 6, Little Red Riding Hood. This is like these are all like the legit ones, like the very first ones by the Brothers Grimm. And then obviously they got modified and changed all happy and stuff, so kids wouldn't like freak out and shit like that. But like the message is basically listen to your mum and don't trust people. Like people can deceive you, and you need to be careful who you let into your life and things like that, because obviously there'll be like consequences, so you have to look out for yourself and you have to listen to your mum and things like that. So this is number 6, Little Red Riding Hood, but it's actually also called Little Red Cap or Cape, I'm not really sure. It doesn't have an E on the end, so I'm not sure which one it is, but everybody pretty much knows this. Basically, Little Red Riding Hood's mum told her to take wine and cake to her gran, but her mum was like, "Look, you need to be careful while you're walking to your grand's house through the forest, and you don't stray from the path because it's dangerous and you could get lost or whatever. So of course she's just stupid and she fucking starts chatting with a wolf who's been like having his eye on her, and he basically is like, whoa, what are you doing, where are you going, or shit. And she tells him, oh, you know, I'm taking all this shit to my gran because she's like sick and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, you know what would be really nice is if you go over that off the path into a fucking field to go pick some flowers for your gran. But she kept going deeper and deeper into the field, she kept going deeper into the woods and stuff, and she got lost. And so the wolf went to the grand's house and he gobbled up her, like he ate her and shit. And then he dresses up in her clothes and he lies in her bed, and then Little Red Riding Hood comes and then he's like, oh, Gran, you know, I've got all this shit for you, here you go, hope you feel better. And then she's like, whoa, what big ears you have, what big eyes you have, what big paws you have, what big teeth you have. And then he's like, yeah, all the better to eat with and all this shit. So he eats her, and then he goes back to sleep and he starts snoring really, really loud. And the woodsman, who's like, you know, a lumberjack, is chopping wood and shit near the grand's house, and he's like, holy shit, she's fucking like snoring like a train, I hope she's okay. So he goes in there and then he sees the wolf. He's like, oh man. The woodsman cut the wolf's belly open with a pair of scissors, and then when the Gran and Little Red Riding Hood were out, Little Red Riding Hood stuffed stones in his tummy, just like in the other one, the other story that I read or told you guys about. Like, they sewed him up so when he was trying to run away but he couldn't because the stones are so heavy in his tummy, and he dropped to the floor and he died. He just died, and everyone was super happy. And then the woodsman, he skinned the fox and kept the pelt of the fox. And then they all like ate the cake and drank the wine, and then they were happy and shit. And Little Red thought, you know, as long as I live, I will never leave the path and run off into the woods by myself if Mother tells me not to. It's pretty self-explanatory, like, just do as your mum tells you and don't walk off the path, like, stay on the path that you need to be on. And that's all that these stories are, basically. It's just to get kids to do things that people wanted them to, like, if you don't eat your vegetables, you won't grow big and strong, or like monsters will come and eat you. That's basically the whole point of stories and things like that. There's also another one, which is like another story with Little Red Riding Hood, and she's at her Gran's house, and the Gran is basically quickly like lock the door because the wolf's out there, and needs you to go and like take these boiled sausages and put them in a trough that's outside the house. So she does that, and when the smell of sausages like went up into the wolf's nose because he was on the roof, he fell off the roof and he drowned in the trough. So you know, there's that happened. So yeah, I hope you guys liked that little episode, and hopefully Nadine will be back. She'll be back next time, hopefully. You guys have an awesome day, afternoon, night, and you know, you have a lot of good luck and fortune and stuff. So shout out to all the friends and the family that tune in, and along with the other people, the other listeners. Thank you very much. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Feel free to message or comment what you'd like to hear more of. Thanks for listening, and bye.